The markets are heating up after the Fed's favorite inflation data came in today and showed that maybe things are a little bit better than we suspected. We'll be discussing that, the latest in crypto, maybe some meme coins, and much more today on Money Never Sleeps. And here's where I should have had the video ready, but I didn't. And here's Money Never Sleeps. Thanks for joining us as always today, everybody. Before we get going, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and remember that nothing that myself or Mr. House says is financial advice. So please do your own research. House, the beard is looking fantastic.
Thank you.
You're really coming into your own there. It's good to have you on with me today while Kevin is traveling for work. How are you feeling about the markets? And I want to hear from you about where you're at with crypto. I know you've been in the meme coin streets. Always a fun topic of conversation there. Something that Kevin and I don't spend too much time on. So we'll hit that up. But overall, how are you doing and how you feeling about the market?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. I think I was on here. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but this kind of pullback Bitcoin ETH. It was something that Kevin and I talked about a little bit, and um, yeah, I wasn't super shocked by it. Luckily, I had converted some of my ETH to stable, so we saved a little bit on the downfall from like 3,500 area. Went briefly into the 3,100s. But again, I didn't really lose my mind over it. Right, it didn't make me flip from oh my god, we're going to zero now, because that seemed to be where some of the sentiment I was seeing was all these bulls for the past year were suddenly like it's over, pack it up. Which honestly kind of makes me think there are a lot of people that are either over invested or really just have no idea what's going on. But no, I'm feeling good
I would say there's
overall.
plenty of both, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's funny, man. Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, it can provide some decent information from time to time, but more than anything, it just kind of shows you some counter signals, right? Like, the loudest voices on there are often the people that know the least, and you can kind of go off, like, just reverse play the sentiment there. When everyone thinks it's going to hell, maybe a good time to pick a little bit up, because that Twitter can wreck your brain if you spend too much time on there.
I mean, everyone's heard of the inverse Kramer at this point. May I interest you in the inverse crypto Twitter?
I mean, that's a good strategy overall. All right, let's get into real quick some data from this morning. We had the final inflation report before the Fed meets next Wednesday, the PCE, personal consumption expenditures. This is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge compared to CPI. And when we look at it, we also got some personal income, personal spending. Income is coming down. Spending is in turn coming down. Disposable income coming down. When we look at PCE, so our inflation data right there, it came in line with expectations for the most part, but still higher than the Fed wants. And one of them, the core number, came in higher than expectation by 0.1%, which to me is not the great sign that the market is expecting that it just got. I've seen that now market's starting to price in 3 rate cuts this year, September, November, December. When I look at the CME futures, the probability of a 50 basis point cut in September has increased. For July, it's pretty much the expectation is no movement, but now I'm hearing 50 basis points could be the expectation for then. And then if we look at, by the end of the year, a much better chance that we're down 75 to 100 basis points. So we'll see what the Fed says next week, how Powell responds to it in his remarks. I think that the market might be getting a little bit ahead of itself here because, there's going to be a lot more reports that come between now and, they meet next Wednesday, then they don't meet again until September 18th. So we'll have another PCE, we'll have 2 CPI readings, we'll have multiple unemployment reports. And it feels like the market just hasn't learned that when they get this far ahead of themselves, you're really setting the bar too high. And there could be a big retracement there if we get some data that isn't in line exactly with that expectation.
Yeah, no, and I think, one thing I'd add on too is, Congress is about to go out of session all of August. That's their summer break. And we're coming up on election season after we just had Biden drop out of the race and the Democratic nominee hasn't been chosen. So, um, it just seems kind of funny to me that they're already pricing in um, lowered rates because it's like we don't know where the direction of the country is headed, right? We had that crypto and little market dump on the news of Biden coming out. Things seemed to rebound after Kamala was there. She was endorsed by Biden. Finally got Barack and Michelle Obama's endorsement. But to me, it's one of those things where the world's really watching right now, and I don't really know that we can price in anything because we don't know that Kamala is the nominee. We don't know what that looks like, and that could, whether she gets it or whether someone else comes out of the woodwork, Newsom, Michelle Obama, anyone else, that could drastically change the picture of what the outlook is for the U.S. over the next 4 years.
Yeah, seems likely that Harris is going to be the nominee. We'll see what she does with VP. As we look across the markets, we move into the final hour of the trading week. Tech tried to rebound a little bit. Nasdaq up about 0.75%, but a lot of the bigger names in tech are still struggling. Nvidia pretty much flat on the day. Apple only up 0.1%. Google, Tesla, Netflix all red on the day, which is surprising when the Nasdaq is moving up. So it seems like the market isn't too sure how to take today's inflation reading, right? Like it's pointing toward it being bullish, but what I'm seeing in the price action says otherwise. If we look at crypto, that's having a very good day right there. We see Bitcoin back over 67,000, approaching 68. It briefly touched 68 earlier today, got rejected off of that. We have ETH just under 3,300. Solana has been kind of leading the way, actually, up at 182.66. The Bitcoin conference is going on in Nashville. I believe, is Trump speaking today or tomorrow? Do you know, House?
I believe he's speaking tomorrow. But I did see RFK was in the building last night. I was tuning into Karate Combat. He was there as well. So two of the three potential candidates were there. Kamala Harris backed out, I believe, at the last minute after potentially making an appearance there.
Yeah, I would have been surprised if she had been with all
Hmm.
the. I don't know if it would have been the best turnout for her, but
No.
RFK did state on that Karate Combat uh, stream last night that he has pretty much most of his net worth in Bitcoin, which I know got the Bitcoiners happy. We saw some decently well known people in the building. I think it's going to be a good conference overall, and we're seeing the price of Bitcoin reflect that. I don't know. Kevin and I, and we said in the last show, are on different sides of it when it comes to crypto right now. He's still very bearish. I'm quite bullish at the moment. I see the dip in ETH, and to me, it's following the path that Bitcoin took after its ETF launch, right? Like
Hmm.
day one, it went up. A few days after that, it went down, and then we saw more and more accumulation. This is a different token. It's a different time. Maybe that changes, but I have a really hard time being bearish, especially on Bitcoin at the moment, with how much time it's spending in the limelight. How the way that people are talking about it. Cynthia Lummis, I forget how you pronounce her last name. The senator from Wyoming wanting to have more of the country's reserve in Bitcoin. Maybe it goes back under 60, and that's it could happen. Maybe it goes down to 54. But at this point, I have a really hard time lining up with these ultra bearish price predictions of it going sub 40, sub 30.
Hmm.
Just too much is lining up. It's gotten too much institutional backing at this point. It's getting into the mainstream. It'll be discussed in the election coverage at some point. Trump, like we said, is going to be speaking tomorrow about it. I just can't get behind the ultra bearishness right now. And I understand there are warning signals out there as far as the housing market and consumer debt and all these things, but I don't view this as a retail driven cycle, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and I think to look at the bearish perspective and not necessarily as gloomy as Kevin, the main thing that sticks out to me is what is it? There's still $6 billion of Mount Gox Bitcoin to be credited, but at the same time, a lot of that's been bought up and traded over the years. And we don't necessarily know who now has that. My guess would be a lot of very savvy traders and, smart money capital funds. And I don't know that the wisest thing they do would be to instantly, market dump it or sell it over the counter. So ultimately, that may not even be something that's long term bearish for Bitcoin. But no, to your point, I think there is starting to be a lot of not only institutional interest but government interest. We saw the Michigan State Pension Fund; they put I think 6.5 million into one of the Bitcoin ETFs, and Jersey City's mayor came out and said, "We're going to start investing the Jersey City pension fund into Bitcoin." So I think a lot of people are really starting to buy into it outside of the traditional crypto space as an investment grade asset that should be part of portfolio diversification. And as long as that trend continues, I don't really think we're going to see a major bearish event for Bitcoin unless it's driven at the institutional level and these ETFs are somehow going to collapse. But also, agreeing with you on ETH, I think it's very similar to the Bitcoin ETF situation. We had like 3 weeks straight of outflows, and if I'm not mistaken, a lot of that was from the Grayscale Trust. People were getting out of the GBTC, and they were either buying spot or they were getting into other Bitcoin ETFs. And I think that's something that we're going to continue to see with ETH as we've had some of these negative outflows, and a lot of it's been from the Grayscale Trust. So, I think it becomes a matter of we're going to start seeing outflows there. Inflows are going to continue into the more recent ETFs. Some more people are going to start buying spot. Um, like Bitcoin went down from what, like 72,000 down to 50K over the course of that period of time. So, we recently saw ETH really floating around 3,500, had a few attempts to break 4,000. If we're only going down to, 3K range and we can hold that, once there are no more of these big outflows from people selling off trusts or anyone trying to get out because big corporations are coming, I think there's a case to be made for ETH potentially seeking a new all-time high or getting back up into that range.
Yeah, my signal will be because I remember back in late January after the ETF was live and it was coming back down, and I think it was close to like 43K. Actually, I have the receipt pulled up. It was around like 43K, and this is when Jim Cramer was tweeting about how like Bitcoin feels heavy. Me and Larry Williams think you should sell your Bitcoin. So each time he tweeted about it, I just bought a little bit more and a little bit more, and I accumulated, an extra like 0.2 Bitcoin over that period of time, and it hasn't gone close to that price again. So once we see ETH go maybe to like 3K and Kramer starts talking about how bad the ETF is, that's when you just shove whatever liquidity you have into the middle. Not financial advice. And he's going to be my bottom signal right there when it's like, okay, here's when it's about to get fun, is when Kramer is calling it. Because let's see, his latest one this week was talking about how good Ford was, and I think it's down close to 20% now. I mean, the guy just knows how to be inversely traded. So
Inverse.
I think that was a good succinct wrap up there. I want to talk about some meme coins. Let's have some fun. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. I know you are much more active than I am in the meme coin streets. And I think that this is worth discussing because we've seen meme coin adoption. We've also seen easier on ramps to access those. Like setting up a Phantom wallet was easy, but now you have MoonPay launching their Moonshot app, which you can just buy meme coins with Apple Pay. So I think more and more people are going to see this, want to be a part of it. When you're looking at meme coins, beside listening to a few crypto accounts, like what are you looking for when you're buying one?
So honestly, I haven't been super deep in the trenches of the Soul meme coin season. Been focusing on a few other things. And typically, when I try and follow the signal, I just lose my money, right? I had a few different Pump Fund tokens that I was in on that didn't make it off of Pump Fund, but I did well on. So typically, what's worked for me is it's not following people off of Twitter. Of like the 10 I've gotten in on, I've had one that did well. And granted, it did make up for all the losses and send me on a trip to San Francisco. Um, but generally, it's the stuff that like actually makes me laugh and is a good meme. And it's not like the, oh, in this culture, this is a good meme, right? Like prime example, my latest success was Kabooti, which I told you and Kevin about at around I'd say a $300,000 market cap. I got in around 70K, 100K maybe. And it was
Oh, so
literally
you were
just
trying to have us be your exit liquidity.
no, I was telling you guys it was about a pump, right? So for those who didn't see it, it was an AI generated image of Kamala Harris bending over the desk in the Oval Office with a fat dump truck. And this was right off the heels of Biden announcing he was stepping off the race. Now, there wasn't the narrative the why I bought it. I saw the picture associated with it and started fucking cackling. Right. Like I could not stop laughing. And I was like, okay, I'll throw some money behind this. Like I just spent like 2 minutes laughing at it, right? Thing ran to like $4.5 million market cap. I got out. I sold the full bag. Um, yeah, I mean that's it. It's like
Can't
no
wait for
regrets,
you
no
to try
looking
to
back.
explain that one on your taxes next year.
Oh, dude, dude, I had some funny conversations with my accountant this past year. Um, he saw Mog, he saw a few other things. By the time we got to Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 email, he didn't even want to ask the question. He's just like, okay, right? Like he read that and he was just he's like, okay, and X amount of units of Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 emu on this date. Does that sound right? And I was like, yep. The ticker
Oh
was
god.
Bitcoin.
That's why I bought it. Ticker was Bitcoin. Yeah, for
But
me,
I
I
mean, more recently, sorry to cut you off, Jweb. I've really just been locked in on some work, some other things,
there you go.
and I think that's what it's all about. As long as you stay locked in
I
to
stay
what
locked
matters
in.
to you, you can't lose.
That
Lock in
so
now or clock in later.
I bought lock in fairly early on. It was like just under 10 million market cap. I had heard about it before that, but I'm like not super aggressive when it comes to to meme coins. And to me, it's just like some of these things I can't pay attention to them, and I'm not a good trader with them. And so it just kind of goes unnoticed for me. But then I saw this and I was like, okay, I can get behind this because like it's not just a meme. Like the lock-in stuff is also everywhere. Like all over social media, people are, talking about being locked in with us on Instagram posts, uh, podcast formats. I know the guy like every time I listen to Pardon My Take, which I check out all of the shows, that's the only thing on Barstool I really listen to. Someone's talking about being locked in. So that to me was like, does it have mind share outside of crypto, of
Hmm.
the crypto community? And that to me was
See,
like, okay, lock in has that. I think that this coin, it's at a low holder count, but we've seen the holder count like consistently go up. When I got in, it was
mhm.
like 2,600, 2,700 holders. Now it's at almost 5,300. So we've seen this gradual rise, and it has mind share, and that mind share doesn't seem like it's really going anywhere. And some of the memes are fun. So to me, it was an easy choice just based off of those few criteria.
Well, and I think one of the important things you said, if we're going to make potential cross-chain comparisons, is the mind share outside of crypto Twitter. And to look at kind of a comparison to an ETH meme coin, MOG, right? MOG is used all the time outside of crypto circles. You know, people are mogging weights at the gym. I kill someone in Call of Duty. You just got MOG, bro. Um, right. And so that's the thing, right? If it can pick up that mind share, and you brought up Moonshot, right? So like I have a cousin who literally knows jack shit about crypto other than Solana meme coins. He doesn't know what Solana is. One of his buddies just told him, like, hey, we can start gambling on this and it goes a lot faster. Right. And so he just goes on Pump Fun, he goes on Jupiter, he does his thing, he's on Photon, doesn't know anything about any other part of crypto. So like something like Moonshot, I was like, hey, did you see this? So much more convenient for him. Dude's in the trenches with his scanners. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. Like if they're not, hardcore on the crypto Twitter scene, maybe like Dog with Hat, Michi, Popcat, things like that, it doesn't resonate with them. Like they don't understand it. Or Nom Nom, Mai Tai. Those other ones that are like more niche culture kind of, crypto Twitter circle things. Whereas like, maybe Iggy Azalea in a celebrity coin, as weird as that seems to like the crypto natives, because we've all been burned by celebrities, maybe that's something that stands out to like a 20-year-old dude in college who's just, gambling $25 with a soul.
Yeah. The ease of use of it, and you know, you can either ignore it, which is fine. You can fight against it, which is stupid, or you can learn it if there's an opportunity there. So I think I would rather either just ignore it completely if it's too ridiculous for me and I don't have the time to focus on it, or you can learn something about it, right?
I,
Like
I'm just going to
there's
stay locked in.
opportunity.
That's all
Yeah,
I'm doing is
I'm
staying locked in.
same. Not selling anytime soon. I have some price targets. Like I might take if when it hits 100 million market cap, I might take a little profit, or I just might keep letting it ride. I'm not sure, but it's been fun. I'm in like a group chat for it. It's a good time, and I think that you know, let's enjoy. Your camera's just drifting on me now.
I I don't know what's going on here. This thing is
It's got a
it's
mind of its
failing
own,
me.
man.
It does. Dude, what the?
What? Now we can see like the full setup.
Yeah, that's
There we go.
enjoy me in bed. I'm still recovering from surgery, so
Oof, yeah. Hopefully that's going well. I know that it was a little touch and go from the
yeah,
jump there.
not too much longer. So
That's good.
thankful
That's
for
good. Get
that.
back out there, get working out again, get into some jujitsu. Any other meme coins right now that have your attention? I've looked at Mog. God, I'm just kicking myself because I've been in some group chats where these got called very early on, and I just feel real dumb for not having a part of it. And I have that anchoring bias kind of kicked in right now of like, I missed this when it was at 1 million, so I can't pay. What's the point in me buying it when it's at a 500 million market cap?
Honestly, I think what you just said is one of the keys to if you're gonna do meme coins is you can't play that Schrodinger's
Yep.
box game of, oh, my buddy made this much money and he told me to get in on it. It's like those are the times where you beat yourself up in any sort of investing game because of the financial tie-in, right? So like whether it's meme coins, stocks, whatever, it's like you can't beat yourself up over the missed opportunities, especially in crypto, because of how much more amplified and volatile everything is, right? Like most markets, you're not going to get those 10,000x and 24-hour opportunities. And yeah, if I kicked myself for every one of those I'd missed, it'd be a rough life right now.
All right, so let's kind of wrap it up with a look ahead to next week. Anything in particular? We have FOMC on Wednesday. Expectation being that there'll be no movement in rates. I wonder how Powell is going to sound when when he does his press conference. Like it's most likely going to be the same thing we've heard is we have to look at the totality of the data and all of this stuff. And they're going to keep an eye on the end. We get a jobs report next Friday. They'll keep their eye on that. They'll keep their eye on the inflation readings. But as we get closer to the eventual rate cuts and what that is going to lead to in the markets, every word is going to be dissected more and more. And he's going to have to choose his words very carefully. So I'm just curious, do you have any thought as far as like how you're going to play the market next week? Are you going to be, are you active on these days where there's heightened volatility? You just kind of like let things work themselves out.
Honestly, I've been pretty comfy with my TradFi holdings, with my 401k, my stocks. I've been well positioned there for a while. On these days of volatility, I like to try and catch some scalp trades on crypto. So I've been checking out the daily and weeklies on Bitcoin and ETH, and honestly, I'll probably just try and trade some majors, see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting because it looks like Bitcoin sold. They got some room to go up, but these ETH ETF, potential ETH ETF effects, it's been shooting us down this week. So I'm definitely curious to see what the crypto landscape looks like next week.
Yeah, Bitcoin is making a push towards 68K again. Uh, Recent high hasn't touched 70 in the last month and a half. So maybe it can make a move toward that. All-time highs could
Mhm.
be possible. We could also, tomorrow we don't normally get Saturday, a lot of market activity, but with Trump speaking tomorrow, that could definitely change the situation there. So keep an eye out on that, or just go enjoy your weekend and don't stress about it. But
Well, since you brought it up, that begs the question, Normally we over these conference periods, we see dumps, right? Like we saw the ETH dump for ETH. We saw the Bitcoin or the NFT dumps whenever they have NFT conferences.
Well, and we saw Bitcoin
Maybe,
dump at the start of this conference too.
yep. But now that every day that Trump's gotten closer, we've started coming back up a little bit. Maybe Trump speaks at Bitcoin Nashville, and all of a sudden you get some Bitcoin whales like, fuck it, another just gonna go market buy everything.
Or we get a whale who's like, fuck it, this is my time. I'm going to dump my holdings. That's the direction I don't want it to go to. I was seeing some of these like Van Eck has gotten super involved in crypto. They have the Van Eck intern like crypto Twitter account that has the Pudgy Penguin, which I mean, good on the Pudgies for making that happen. But they're putting out their like bull and bear case for like the next 25 years in crypto. And like the ultra bullish case was calling for like $5 million Bitcoin. I was just like, good Lord. That would be something, which I mean, they broke down their case as well around how like it could be, 10% of the world's trade could be done in Bitcoin. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're going to have a lot of people who are going to need to increase their exposure to it. It outlined banks maybe keeping like 2.5% of their holdings in Bitcoin. That would obviously be huge.
If Bitcoin reaches $5 million, how much do you think a rare Satoshi would go for, right? Like, do those ordinal prices go with it or do they go down?
I have not. So this is another bias. The first person I saw talking about ordinals on Twitter is someone I have no respect for, who is a known rug puller, and I think it's an overall piece of garbage. So from the beginning, I got a bad taste in my mouth for ordinals. So I haven't really taken the time to learn anything about it. The rare Satoshis, the pizza Satoshis, all of these other things, I don't particularly care for. But if it's historic, as some of these people are claiming they are, then maybe it does well.
Aye, Jweb is bearish on ordinals. This just in.
Jweb is uninformed on ordinals and isn't probably going to take the time to learn anything about it. Which, hey, I just said that could be problematic, but that's where
Very
I'm
well.
at with ordinals. I just enjoy, to me, ETH and Solana are for spending a little bit more Solana at this point, and Bitcoin is just for accumulating. Because someday I hope to be able to, hold my Bitcoin and have a bank look at that as collateral for a mortgage or something along those lines, right? Like I have other things I want to do with my Bitcoin beside keep them in an NFT. So that's where I'm at with it at this point. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up today? I think it was a good, we got down to business. We didn't get too, I don't chart like Kevin. I don't have all of the crazy lines and stuff. I'm very boring. I just have it on TradingView and just look at it. But any final thoughts you have before we wrap it up for the day?
No, fun show. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure to be here.
Appreciate you stepping in for Kevin. He'll be back with me on Monday. We'll go through the weekend, how it went with Trump's talk at Bitcoin conference in Nashville, the market reaction, a look at the week ahead, all of that good stuff. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment if you feel so inclined. Have a great weekend. Stay safe in the markets, and we'll see you next time.